Long ago, I made a rubric for suggesting new weapons to Vigor. And this rubric was intended by me to be used as some sort of guideline for if a new gun is added to Vigor, it should at least fit most of this rubric. Upon using this rubric upon the weapons that I wanted to see in Vigor, I was able to clean up my list and make a more precise and more well-managed list that makes a lot more sense. That is the list I will be covering in today's video. Here are my weapon suggestions for Vigor. I hope you guys enjoy, and let's get right into it. Right, so the first weapon I would like to suggest is a lot of people have been asking for a scoped bolt action. And a lot of people, for the answer for what we should get with a scoped bolt action is a Kar 98K. While I understand where those opinions come from, we have to understand that adding a Kar 98K would require a rework of the existing Mauser ammo, because the Mauser ammo has the worst fall off in the game right now. So, to compensate for that issue, I suggest we add an M91 Mosin. If you don't know what this is, it's basically a scoped Mosin used by the Russian White Army in World War I. These things would be everywhere. I mean, they are everywhere in real life, so it makes sense to be added in the game as well. It would also use the exact same ammo as the Mosin, which means it would be a very nice and stable two-shot kill from most ranges. I honestly am very heavily leaning towards this option as well, is because I think rarity-wise it would clearly go blue, which, you know, would be nice. Having a nice blue bolt-action sniper rifle that's miles better than the SS-82 that we currently have to put up with. Again, this gun could be completely interchangeable with the Kar 98K. However, I just think reworking the Mauser ammo is too much work when we can just suggest something a lot simpler. Alright, on to the next gun. Just like many people have been asking for a brand new scoped sniper rifle, just as many people have been asking for a lever action. And I think we should get the Model 1892 chambered in 357 Magnum. Why? Because 357 Magnum's already in the game. This is really the strongest argument I have for this weapon, as well, yes, a lot of lever actions are going to be good for the game. Using an ammo that already exists, that isn't unique, and the gun makes sense to be in Norway is our best way to go here. Also, this gun's kind of dope, and has some decent recognition within normal people. So I think that gives this gun a lot of extra points. If you're worried about what it would do for the meta, a lever action is pretty much self-explanatory in that it'd be a slightly faster rate of fire than some of the bolt actions that we have, maybe on par with some semi-autos, but would be really based on your trigger pulls, meaning it should have 0 to no fire rate caps and should have some interesting dynamics going on with it in regards to bloom, perhaps having very little to no bloom at all. But on to the next gun. Before I suggest the next gun, it has to be stated that the G3 in single fire at decently long ranges is just not good right now. But instead of fixing that issue, I honestly think we should add a completely new gun, because the G3 is already good enough that any further buffs might bring into question its blue rarity, and I don't want to do that. So, FN FAL. FN FAL could be a single fire only weapon with extremely low bloom and spread at medium to long ranges. The downsides to this weapon would be, of course, no scope, and it's firing 7.62x51, which is a 3-shot at the moment. This would be a reasonable downside to it. Simply think of it as a G3 locked in single for mid to far range, and I think you can also see its meta purpose. If you're worried about it fitting in for the situation of Vigor, it's a NATO weapon that was pretty common, so it should be in Norway. Moving on to the next gun. The next gun is one that many people have been suggesting. A World War II baby, we've got MP40. The MP40, it would basically be the love child, the missed love child of the Somi and the MP5. And I don't think I need to explain more. If you're questioning what its role in the meta would be, that is something that even I'm a bit unsure of, I'll be honest here. But I do think it would be interesting to have a blue rarity MP5 baby, basically, sitting around on the meta table. It would have a decent amount of purpose, and I just see it being used a lot. I don't think it would be overpowered, I just think it would be something that people easily pick up on due to how easy the MP5 is to use, and it would be more balanced than an MP5 because it would probably have the bloom of like a Xiaomi at mid to far range. So, MP40. Next gun. This next gun, much like the MP40, is one that I'm adding on this list because of popular suggestion. The Galil. The Galil is an Israeli assault rifle, and in case you're wondering how that makes no sense, we already have the Uzi. They're pretty much on par with each other. The Galil would be interesting in the game because of handling. While it would, and I'm saying almost objectively here, either completely occupy the same role as the AKM or the AK-74, just firing a different caliber, it would be cool. And it would be an interesting suggestion because being able to play either an AK-47 or an AKM in 5.56 is a very unique thing. While it wouldn't be meta changing and it wouldn't really have its own isolated job in the meta, it would be a gun a lot of people would like to see. And I'm saying this, I know that completely defies my rubric from a video ago, but understanding that the desire for an AK that is 5.56 is something I can see and I've seen much throughout the community, so I'm willing to put aside my rubric temporarily to suggest the Galil. If you disagree though, I don't blame you. Right. So the next gun, for a very, very long time on my channel, I have argued for the existence or creation of a white LMG. The reason I argue this is because at the moment there is none. So a new player who likes to play guns that work like LMGs, you know, heavy spray, heavy suppression, has to go down the SMG route, which is not only not fun, is also not an LMG. Having an ability for new players to play with an LMG early into the game would encourage more players to play LMGs later in the game, and maybe even HMGs. And the reason that's important is because almost nobody plays them right now. And no, it's not because they're bad, it's just that nobody plays them. The KK-62 is really, honestly, one of the stronger guns in the game, as is the ZA-M76, and to some differing degrees, the M60 and UK VZ59. These are all great guns, but people don't use them because they never really get the chance to. Because when they start the game, they run an AKM, and then the next logical progression is either M16 or the 74, and then from there, you know, on until you get to the top of the AR route. Or if you like snipers, you get the Mosin to run early on. Or if you like SMGs. You get my point. There is no starter LMG HMG. To fix this issue, I suggest the DP27. This 47 rounds, 7.62 by 57 is a very unique weapon. Hailing from the Soviet Union, it's strange, to be honest. But this would be a great starter LMG, either white or green rarity, to just ease people into the weapon type. I would suggest white much more than green, to be honest, because we already kind of have the MG3 and the M60, but green might work as well. This thing, though, needs to be an LMG. You need to be able to aim down sights with it, and it has a 47 round mag to balance it out, so it should be okay with having LMG capacities. Gotta be noted as well that 7.62x54 is a 2-shot ammo in Vigor, and as long as it maintains, this thing would encourage people to run the much heavier hitting HMG class, which on average is going to be a 2-shot. Moving on to our next gun. The STG-44, much like the Galil, is an example of a gun that would be unique and have a purpose due to its handling. This weapon would handle different than any of the existing guns. The other reason why it would be a good weapon is the fact that the majority of the community seems to be very much fans of assault rifles and different types of ARs. By giving them yet another AR, we can perhaps diversify the weapon pool just a little bit and not get constant AUR A1 spam. Or at least so I hope. This weapon would be blue or purple, and we should have decent damage, even though it's an 8mm. It would have a fairly fast rate of fire with iffy bloom and not too much recoil either. Its stick mag, I think, is a 45 round mag, and if I'm wrong, you can correct me in the comments. It's a cool gun, and because of its historical understanding, a lot of people know it from, history. It was very common in World War II. It could be argued it wouldn't really be found that much in Norway, and due to its World War II time period, it's not too much of a logical gun for this game. But I figured I'd include it anyway for all of the fans of the weapon that are so loud about it. And it wouldn't be that bad of an addition, to be honest. At least from a game balancing standpoint. So we move on to the final gun of today. We move on to the AS Val. This is a gun suggested by Drake Yorn, and while I personally don't know what the purpose of the weapon would be, besides being a, cool assault rifle using VSS ammo that's maybe not silenced, maybe it's blue in order to compensate for its lack of silence, and has decent mid to far range, I know Drake knows what he talks about when he suggests a gun, and I'm really just adding it to this list because of him. I suggest you all go check out Drake Yorn if you don't, and you guys can pester him with questions as to why this gun should be added to the game. But I think it would be a cool addition of a blue VSS ammo gun in the game. That is it for this video, and I am sorry if this video was not as well put together as you expected from me. I've been kind of getting a wee bit overbogged with all of the scripts I've been writing lately, and this is one of the few that I was not too happy with how it came out. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video anyway, and at least considered some of my weapon suggestions cool. This has been Christopher Beast, and I hope to see you all next time.